Once upon a time in midwinter, a queen was sewing by her ebony wood window. As she sewed, she looked up at the snow and pricked her finger with her needle. 3 drops of blood fell into the snow. The red and the white snow looked so beautiful that she thought to herself, if only I had a child as white as snow, as red as blood, and as black as wood in this frame. Soon afterwards, she had a little daughter who was white as snow, as red as blood, and as black as wood, and therefore they called her Little Snow White. Hello! My name is Rosa Spandan and I welcome you all to my very first art blog, or I should call it my art diary. Yes, I'll be calling this a diary because it will be random and it is free for all. So no need for any journal. Sharing my art, sharing its process, and I hope that it will be okay for you. In this very first art blog, I'm going to share with you my art process in painting a Snow White variant who I called Maria Blanca. Maria Blanca is actually a character from my story, The Edelweiss Princess. I posted it on Wattpad and web novel. The story is very much similar to Snow White, and maybe there'll be differences like adding up some inputs that I really want. And yeah, she's my very own Snow White. The difference with Maria Blanca and the original Snow White, in the original Snow White, she has a black hair and a very pale skin, hence why she's called Snow White, of course. But in mine, Maria Blanca has a platinum blonde hair that is almost white, and she's also pale. The reason why I wrote a story that is inspired by Snow White because I love Snow White. She is very humble, she's very sweet, and one thing that is lacking right now, especially in today's world, is that kind of virtue, especially in women. Because I don't know, I don't resonate with the very girl boss thing. If you resonate with it, good for you. But for me, I don't, because the world right now is very, I don't know, it's a very in a topsy turvy situation. Um, if you like that very feminism, the modern feminism idea that women should be, be like very masculine, well, that's all right. But for me, I like the very old type, like very sweet, very humble, which is what I really wanted to emulate. Because of course I am not perfect. Never in my life I would say I'm an angel, of course. That's why I really love Snow White, because um, especially when her stepmother, the evil queen, made her into a servant, especially what was showcased in the Disney classic animation, where Snow White was cleaning the steps of her castle. She was just singing, very happy, very gleeful child. And I really want to emulate that, be contented. But that doesn't mean that we should allow the injustices. It's just that it's a process, We should be humble, try to understand the situation. And that is one thing why I write down a story that is very similar to Snow White. And also, why I wanted to draw a variant of Snow White and write a story about her, because um, I want to fulfill my childhood dreams of being a writer, being an artist, even though it is still I'm still far from that, but at least I'm taking the steps, I'm stepping on the steps where I wanted to go. Goodness gracious, I'm sorry if you've noticed that I'm very sweaty. It's very hot in the Philippines and it's Sunday. And also, by the way, today is Laudate Sunday, which is the third Sunday of Advent, which is the pink day, and pink, which means joy. I just got home from mass, and the priest shared with us a very nice story of being satisfied, like being humble, being joyful of what we've got. And I really reflect that on my Snow White story, the Edelweiss Princess, because Maria Blanca is very joyful despite of the circumstances she faced. Um, in my story, similar to Snow White, her mother died after she was born, and there were various trials that she faced, family problems, and still she smiles and still happy and still very positive about it. And also with the inspiration behind Maria Blanca's looks like the pale skin and the platinum white hair, I'm actually inspired by Lady Amalthea from The Last Unicorn. I've watched that movie so many times, and Lady Amalthea is very graceful, very gentle, and that kind of virtue reflects on her beauty when she turned into a human. Of course, she's also beautiful in her unicorn form, and that's why she's my inspiration for the beauty of Maria Blanca, the pale skin and the white, platinum blonde to white hair. I forgot to mention that one of my inspirations in creating the Edelweiss Princess story and character of Maria Blanca was the Russian version of Snow White, which is the Dead Princess and the Seven Knights. Its alternate title is The Dead Tsaritsa and the Seven Bogatyrs. Bogatyrs means brave man or big man, hence why its alternate name is the Seven Knights. Clearly, with the title, instead of having the seven dwarfs to shelter Snow White away from the prying eyes of the evil queen, it was the seven knights, or in the Russian film, in the animation, it was the seven brothers who cared for the princess away from the evil queen's prowess. In the Russian version and the Walt Disney classic animation, both had the same story, which follows Snow White, the evil queen, then being lured into the forest, saved by the seven dwarfs or the seven knights, kissed by the prince, and happily ever after, blah blah blah. The only difference I see again is instead of having the seven dwarfs, they have the seven knights, and also with the ending. In the original tale, especially with the Brothers Grimm, the queen was forced to dance in red hot shoes until she died after Snow White was married. In the Walt Disney, of course, the evil queen was killed by the seven dwarfs. In the Russian version, the evil queen was punished. Well, I have actually forgot how she was punished, but I'll just insert here the how she was killed. The Dead Princess and the Seven Knights is one of my inspirations in creating the Edelweiss Princess. I have seen this animation during the lockdown. I was searching for vintage animation and I fell in love with it. Most of these classic vintage, Russian animation, I actually loved it. I actually have seen this when I was a child, but already forgot because it was not really known, unlike the Walt Disney. But I'm glad that I stumbled upon it during the lockdown, and hence why, aside from being so nostalgic and also wanting to make my dreams come true of being a writer and painting princesses, it sparked my imagination and it did really inspire me a lot.